There's a really strange phenomena here in Stuttgart at the university that I also somewhat associate with Munich, but not to the same degree. And that is that students studying together wish that each other will fail. And this to me is an unhealthy form of competition and unnecessary, as I will hopefully be able to articulate. I myself noticed this sort of idea growing on me as well, and it also seems to reflect the atmosphere, the social atmosphere in general. Uh, Here in Stuttgart, people are pretty skeptical of each other, and I think Stuttgarter like to judge each other negatively behind each other's backs. Uh, it is an unfortunate truth to the way things are here, uh, but I think it's well described by a friend of mine who also describes his European social environment as a little backstabby. And this goes beyond academic struggle. I think it's an emotional decision rather than a vernünftige Entscheidung, a rational decision. Because if I wish that my colleagues, of which I now have 6, fail and don't come to China, I don't see the benefit of this. The the only benefit I can imagine when I really go out on a limb is that it would leave me alone in China and capable of opening my social circle faster. But I did this in Germany already. I opened my social circle, and you do this by separating yourself more regularly from the friends that make you comfortable with your own language and culture. So I still don't see this as a huge problem in China, that if they were to come with me, I wouldn't be able to try and integrate myself into the Chinese culture. But the further we develop over the last 3 semesters, there have been so many ungünstige Momente, or there have been so many uh, negative judgments made toward one another behind closed doors or behind the screen of a cell phone that we've never spent time together ever in 3 semesters, a year and a half. Uh, I have spent the most time with someone who I also think doesn't like me that much. Uh, and once again, I emphasize this reflects the sort of social atmosphere here. Um, we've uh, of the 6 people that are in our studies, 4 of them I've never seen outside of the university. When we originally started with 12, I saw 2 of those people that have now failed and dropped out. I saw 2 of those people one time each outside of the university. The person now whose company I enjoy most, but who I still experience a mysterious sort of skepticism towards my person, I've seen much more often. Um, Maybe 10 times now over the past semester. So the first, because this person in the first semester also had difficulty responding to my casual questions. Uh, and I don't know what that is, but I think I owe it to myself and my colleagues that I don't wish them unwell. And I think it's important to emphasize that there is no academic benefit to people failing. There is no selfish benefit to someone failing. Whatever benefit you are visualizing for yourself is probably motivated by emotion and the dynamics of our friendships until this point. But I don't see a reasonable reason why they should be encouraged to fail. I think if we all pass, that's great. And in my own heart, it's important for me to resist this Neigung, this leaning towards this idea that my colleagues should fail. Because the more I notice it in my colleagues, the more I think I begin to reflect it myself. And it's important to keep it in control. And I don't know. It's really strange. And at what point is it necessary for me to give the effort in influencing my colleagues outside of my own success? I don't think it's necessary to use my time to help my colleagues pass, because ultimately it is their responsibility. But I don't wish them unwell either. And I think this line of thinking is useful when you study in Germany, because or at an institution that's very competitive, because I think the balance between competition and outright unfriendliness is fine. It's a fine line, and it's important to navigate that in my mind. Yeah. And maybe if my colleagues ever see this, they too might come to the same conclusion that we're just in this academic struggle together. It's not necessary that we be best friends, but the way we are developing now is, in my view, unhealthy, and it fosters, when taken to the extreme, hatred toward one another. Unreasonable hatred. And I hope it doesn't go further like that. But ultimately, we have 8 months left, and all of our friendships will probably fade away in the wake of our arrival in China.